the media network. So, super excited to be back and get rocking and rolling. More towards what I'm looking for the network. And then, of course, always a blast talking wrestling with you and your network, your media network as well. So
Yes, definitely. I messed up a little bit. It didn't go live whenever I clicked live, so we're now live, but we didn't get to show everyone the intro. But I can't believe that's the intro I made for my demo reel back in school, and I can't believe that I don't have any clips of us in it. I guess we started doing more stuff after we graduated and everything, so that does make sense. But yeah, we got a full episode of wrestling to talk about. We're live on the Facebook page, the YouTube channel for the Hardcore Sports Network, as you just joined. Great to have you there, and then your Facebook and YouTube as well, my YouTube. So yeah, we as people file in, I'll get a tweet out and of course send a message in the group chat, whatnot. But we can start with the cruiserweight division. I know we've been chit chatting and whatnot about this, so take the reins in this one, because since it was your kind of idea that you threw out there on the watch along the other night, and I loved it right away. So yeah, while I do a little plugging and trying to get some get some eyes in here, take it away.
Plug. So yes, the cruiserweight division. So I'm going to age myself a little bit. I have been watching wrestling most of my life. I was around when WCW for the Monday Night Wars, really before they started. But one thing WCW did very, very well was their cruiserweight division. They had a talented roster. You had people like Rey Mysterio, you had Eddie Guerrero, you had Chavo Guerrero, Billy Kidman, La Parka. I don't know if anybody remembers La Parka. All those guys, absolutely super talented wrestlers, Lucha Libre, and really it brought in a lot of Hispanic culture and history, because wrestling is very big down there, especially Lucha Libre. We had an Ultimo Dragon was in it as well. And once WCW kind of got diluted and WWE bought it, or Vince McMahon at the time, the forbidden guy, it was
He who
good
must not
for
be
a little
named.
while. What's that?
He who must not be named.
Right, exactly. And it was great for a little while, and then they kind of steered away from it. And I think with the new ownership, new head of creative, Triple H, Paul Levesque, trying to go international. He's hitting Europe, which was, a market that hadn't been hit really ever. And, I think they're missing out. Well, that's a great market. I think they're missing out on all of like South America and Mexico and that fantastic style of wrestling and those wrestlers. I mean, we've got a Hall of Famer in Rey Mysterio, perfect example of what that culture can produce and the massive interest in it. And you've got great guys that could compete in it right now. So, you've got you got Dom, you got Ray, you got Dragon Lee. You've got Santos Escobar and his crew. You've got the LWO. That's just the main stables that could build the cruiserweight division. So all of them are super talented. I think they're missing out on a huge demographic, and I'd love to just see the high flying action come back.
Yeah, definitely. It would definitely be a way to tackle the issue of having the titles kind of being circling around one group of the roster. With it's going back and forth between LA Knight and Mitch is here. Thank you, Mitch, for joining us. What's going on?
Welcome, Mitch.
Yeah. But yeah, it's it kind of can be an extra way to get eyes on different talent, without just throwing a title into the mix and then throwing another title into the mix whenever that one has the same people around it, kind of like what AEW is doing. But yeah, I mean, it would open up new eyes in, a new market, like you said, and it kind of can go back to the old days and revive that WWE does lack a little bit. And it would be it's a fantastic idea, and given that like they have, I was thinking that was going to be kind of what the WWE speed was about, because it's you see speed, you think guys like Ricochet, guys, the current speed champion, um, and more so of the cruiserweight division. But then you have a Bron Breakker who runs the ropes at 23 miles an hour,
Right.
and you're like, okay, yeah, just straight up, just it's just speed. So maybe they could do something like that, like we were saying earlier. Started out just like on main event, the main event tapings, and then kind of just show highlights of it during Raw and SmackDown, and then have like a face to face of whoever was on main event, and make a cruiserweight championship that you can upload those videos to the social media platforms, but also like you could have do a mix of like 15-minute time limit for the cruiserweight division matches, but they're sprinkled throughout Raw or SmackDown, whatever. There's definitely different ways they could do it, and it's going to be interesting to see if that's something that does come into be with Triple H and the new regime.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like I said, I think they're just missing out on a whole huge demographic that's out there, and and me personally, I know they've got the speed championships, and it's 3 minutes per match, but I feel like there wasn't a whole lot of build up to it, and you know, Ricochet won, he's the speed champion, but really haven't had a lot of promotion or buildup of the speed matches or championships on the main shows. What I would really like to see is for them to introduce the cruiserweight division into the main shows. You've got two major factions that have a history and a culture of lucha libre and like cruiserweights in Legado del Fantasma and the LWO, but their heads together, right? You've got Dom. That's an interesting situation, but he's always got that feud with his dad. And I mean, I feel like you've got the players that to build and start this cruiserweight division right off the bat with some major heat between both factions, between Santos Escobar, Rey Mysterio, Dom, and the rest of the factions. And if we're being honest, I don't think Ray has a whole lot longer left before he retires. Let him build this cruiserweight division and kind of have that final hurrah before he retires. I think it'd be a perfect way to set it up. Perfect way for Rey Mysterio to leave his mark again on the industry and WWE. And then we've got a whole brand new division where these guys that aren't in the world championship picture, they can get a shot and they can get their spotlight and fight for another title, a very well-respected title that has a lot of history.
Yeah. Yeah, I know whenever I first started watching the cruiserweight, there was the cruiserweight title, and then it was just kind of, I think it was more so defended in like the the dark matches and the house shows, and during main event tapings, like I'd said before, and then it kind of all of a sudden randomly it went to NXT and became the NXT Cruiserweight Championship, and then I think they just got rid of it. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. But it was always cool to see like Buddy Matthews in there. I can't even think of it. He just ended up. Well, he didn't get released, but they didn't. They chose not to. Drew Gulak. He
Yep.
was always competing in that mix. So technical guys, wrestlers, would be really fun to watch in that division. Rey Mysterio being the head of that, and then kind of helping expand it before he calls it a career. That would definitely be be very awesome. Yeah, and then even like I mean the issues that I threw around earlier were like you have a guy like a Finn Balor who's 5'10", and he's a heavyweight technically, so there would be figuring out, are they going to do it by, if you look like a cruiserweight, go ahead, or are they going to get down like nitty gritty and be like, okay, we're going to have, you have to be, this is X Y and Z, you have to have this, and then if you meet that, then you can compete in the cruiserweight division. Or they could just do it, start doing division by division, from mainly heavyweight and cruiserweight, because I don't think there's anyone on the roster that's less than a cruiserweight. So you could split the rosters up that way, still within Raw and SmackDown, which would kind of circle back to the main point of it, which was to get eyes on different parts of the roster. It would definitely be something fun to see happen, and hopefully it does happen.
Yeah, no, definitely. And really I'd love to, I wouldn't be against like, whoever the cruiserweight champion is or becomes, being someone that could also be like a free agent, and they could wrestle not just on Raw or SmackDown, but they could on both. Because then you could have cruiserweight talent on both shows. You get that high flying action on both shows that entertains not just the crowd, but the people watching at home. Those matches are always so exciting and so explosive, from the aerial, high flying, super fast. You get that just combination of everything. So I wouldn't mind seeing the cruiserweight champ, whoever that were to become, if they create it, just be a free agent and can compete on either one of those shows. So
what's going on, Randy? Randy's in the chat. It's funny, whenever I sent out the stream to the group chat, Randy had sent a very interesting tweet about your boy Micah Parsons down there in Jerry's world. I know it's kind of a pivot on our wrestling talk, but per ML football, superstar pass rusher Michael Parsons says hypothetically, if he left the Cowboys, he would go to the Steelers because of Mike Tomlin.
I think it's just going to be hypothetical. I think Michael Parsons is going to be a great pickup for anybody, but I think Michael Parsons, I think he's going to get paid. Yeah. And if anybody's going to pay, that's a whole nother thing. I got a whole idea of what Jerry actually meant by all in. And I can tell you right now, all in was definitely a future reference. So, but he's definitely going to try and give Micah and CD the bag. I would hate to see him go to the Eagles. I would really hate to see him go to the Eagles.
Mitch, I think he just wants to come home to Pennsylvania. He's a Harrisburg guy, so Central PA. Obviously played at Penn State, so again, Central area, so kind of middle of the state. So I'm sure he just wants to come back to PA. I don't know. I don't see how he would. I mean, I guess it's rivalry be damned, because Saquon went to Philly, so. I mean, there's something about going from staying in the division and just going to a rival team. Look at Patrick Queen coming to the Steelers.
Look at Dan Quinn.
As long as he is not on the Cowboys anymore, I'm good with either team.
Well, that's the thing with Micah Parsons. I feel if he has a good coach, he'll do everything he can to stay with that coach. We saw the loyalty with Dan Quinn.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes with Mike Zimmer. Totally different coaching style, coaches. Mike Zimmer's not as, in your face as Dan Quinn was, but the guy's got a ton of experience. I mean, he's won Super Bowls with the Cowboys and their defense. So, we'll see. I have a feeling Mike is going to do very, very well under Mike Zimmer, and he's going to get Micah that bag. So, you know, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, yeah. It was, I know it put that emphasis on the hypothetically because just because whenever I first saw it, I was like, okay, that's funny that Randy sent that as we were about to go or as we went live, and you kind of started us off here. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think the Steelers we're set with T.J. Watt and Alex Highsmith, so we don't really need Micah. I just thought it was cool because he is a Harrisburg guy, and I got to watch him play in high school, in college, and then if he comes home to either Pittsburgh or Philly, maybe I would be able to get to see him at the pro level. But um, yeah, I
Well,
mean we could dive into that rabbit hole
yeah.
for a whole nother hour. So
Good news
we
is
got
Dallas upgraded their offensive line, so and could arguably be one of the best in the NFL. So we'll see.
speaking of one of the best and upgrades, Bron Breakker on the main roster. I thought maybe it definitely needed an upgrade or at least a push to get in the right direction. Given that he's just the last couple weeks on Raw, he was facing jobbers and then took out Ricochet. Had a match against Ricochet last night. Absolutely, I mean, just speared the what out of him. Ricochet should be sponsored by Dude Waves because I'm pretty sure he was crapping it. He's been crapping his pants for the last couple of weeks dealing
Yeah.
with Bron Breakker. We talked about this the other night. I didn't like Bron's start to the main roster at first because not being in King of the Ring, but now I can see kind of the way you said how he's the direction of the booking that you like it. It definitely made sense. So yeah, I mean, what would yeah, you had a great take on that.
Yeah. So, and this kind of goes into the last topic. I'm going to show my age again. Luckily, the camera doesn't show these grays as well as my knowledge of wrestling. But I watched Scott Steiner and I watched Rick Steiner. Both I watched them a little bit as a tag team and separately as Big Papa Pump and the dog Rick Steiner. And first of all, he looks like if Scott Steiner and Rick Steiner had a baby, Bron Breakker is the result. He looks so much like both of them. And I think if they had put him in King of the Ring, I don't think anybody would have believed that Gunther would have won because that man is an absolute monster and he's just very sound in everything that he does.
Yeah.
So if you put him in King of the Ring to go, he's got to go all the way. But for him, you don't need him to win King of the Ring to push him. And the way they're doing it is he's got a little attitude of both Scott Steiner, the cockiness of Scott Steiner because of how good he is, and he's got the attitude of his dad, Rick Steiner, and not putting him in King of the Ring was the perfect way, I think, to set him off and really showcase his talents and what he can do and how much of a BMF that guy can be for WWE. So I really like where they're taking him. Hey, look, I'm going to do what I want. I'm good enough. What are you going to do to stop me? You can't. You screwed up. And it's going to be a very good way to bring him in and build him up into a title shot versus bringing him in, King of the Ring, win King of the Ring, and then he's got a title shot.
Yeah.
No, that's, to me, that's lazy. That's boring. That's an easy way to get him in the title picture. Build him up. I love the way they're going with him. So they're taking their time with him.
Yeah. I mean, I know when we first talked about it, I threw out that just they're building him up to be the next Goldberg, and that was kind of how I was seeing it. But that, and also like Twitter played a part of that. I saw, a couple tweets saying that's the way it was feeling like it was going. But then whenever you said it, I'm like, okay, now that I'm looking at it like that, definitely can see it that way, and it does make sense. But yeah, I mean, it definitely within the next, like, throughout the summer, seeing where he's gonna go, just kind of causing mayhem and going through everyone. It's gonna be a lot of fun to see him now to SummerSlam, and then from SummerSlam to the Rumble, and then the Rumble to WrestleMania, and then just continuing there eventually until he is ready for the United States or Intercontinental title, and then down the line of obviously the world title, because he is definitely one of those guys that he heavyweight division star, heavyweight division main event superstar, like a Damian Priest, like a Drew McIntyre, blah blah.
Right.
Like a Seth Rollins. Just he could be that guy, definitely, for sure. And then just it ties into Gunther, which is what we'll get into that next. He's finally getting into the world championship scene. The way they did it, having him win King of the Ring immediately, I was like, okay, he's in King of the Ring. He was the first one to declare for King of the Ring. He didn't say it; he declared it, like Michael Scott
Right.
would say. And then I immediately was my pick to win it all. Of course, then we get the semifinals with Jey Uso, and I'm like, well, Jey Uso's over pretty well. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing Jey get in there winning. But I think Jey is probably going to be my favorite for Money in the Bank.
Yeah. I think they're doing Gunther justice. He is the longest reigning IC champion there was. Definitely added some prestige to that title with his extremely long reign. And, I think when he lost it to Sammy, I think he was more than ready to head into the championship scene, the world championship scene. And, King of the Ring was a perfect way to do it, with the added, stipulation that whoever wins gets to face, have a world title shot at SummerSlam. I mean, it's perfect. And then now, I'm pretty sure this wasn't intentional with the whole Randy situation. I'm sure there's going to be a rematch, and, it'll just solidify Gunther even more that he's ready to move up to the next championship bracket, if you will.
Yeah.
So, which I think is, another reason I'm glad Bron Breakker wasn't in there, because I couldn't see anybody beating Bron Breakker in the King of the Ring. And, you would basically just have Gunther with this huge long reign, the longest reign for IC champion ever. And then you just dump him to Bron Breakker at King of the Ring. I mean, it's a waste of his talent and his ability, and the work that he's put in. So, which, I wrote an article that's covered a lot of that already. So, as far as Jey, perfect spot, Money in the Bank. I'm tired of seeing him lose title matches.
Yeah.
He's very, very over with the fans. Probably one of, if not the most over with the fans in the company. Definitely, at least on Raw.
Yeah.
And see him just keep constantly losing these title matches over and over and over. It's like, I would love for him to win Money in the Bank, because then they can kind of put him in whenever there's a spot, whenever it's ready to go. So, but Gunther, world title shot, I love it. It'll be interesting to see who he faces, whether it's Damian Priest or Drew McIntyre. The real question is, regarding either one of those, are they gonna have Gunther beat one of them at SummerSlam? Because they're both fairly recent champions, and that would essentially be maybe a 6-month run for Damian. So
Yeah.
it's and Gunther's coming off a 600 plus day reign as IC champion. So it's also a tight corner they painted themselves into. So, and then if you get Drew McIntyre beating Damian, then that's an even shorter championship run if Gunther beats him.
Yeah.
So,
not as short as his WrestleMania title run, 5 minutes and 45 seconds.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not as short as that, but it'll definitely not be ideal for him. So it'll be interesting. I think they've kind of painted themselves into a corner, but I wouldn't mind Gunther beating either one of them.
Yeah. I was thinking the exact same thing. Just given on how they played it out last week on Raw when Gunther came out, did his promo, Priest came out. You got okay. We're seeing the preview for SummerSlam. That's fine. But then you have McIntyre come out, interrupt them, and then Gunther just leaves. It's like, okay, well, if we're gonna skip first, we were gonna skip to SummerSlam with the preview we're getting at first, and then you bring out McIntyre, be like, oh, well, wait, I have my title shot, and then of course, you have the social media already previewing or promoting for Madison Square Garden show later in June, later this month. Jey Uso versus Priest for the world title has already been promoted by Madison Square Garden for whenever Raw comes to MSG. And McIntyre replied to the picture on Instagram, was like, hey, what the heck? So I think that kind of is previewing our answer there in the sense of what's going to happen at Clash, which is going to be hilarious if it does go down that way. And if it does, I think I know how they're going to get to that point, which is going to tie into our next topic. But yeah, I mean, they've definitely backed themselves kind of into a love triangle of having, it was Punk, Rollins, and McIntyre, and now it's Gunther, Gunther, McIntyre, and Priest. Also, circling around is still CM Punk, given that he's injured. He can only do so much to stay in the circle, but his feud with McIntyre, I mean, the best thing that they have going right now until we get the return of our tribal chief.
Which, all right, I'll wait till we get into that subject. We can add that on if you want. That's a whole nother storyline. So, but yeah, no, it's an interesting corner they're in. We'll see what they do with it. I would love to see CM Punk cost Drew McIntyre against Damian Priest again. I think that'd be absolutely hilarious.
Cinema, as the kids say.
Absolutely. I mean, it's bad enough we got him beating him with his arm brace and then costing him the title. To see him he doesn't even have to do anything. Just go out there and stand by the ring and distract him while Priest finishes him off and, wins the title or retains the title. I would be so happy with that. So, but we'll see.
Yeah, it's because immediately whenever I saw the thing about the post about Madison Square Garden promoting that match for later this month, Earl had said he's gonna lose because of Punk, and I was like, okay, well, I'm all for that just because I'm not a big McIntyre fan. I think he's done nothing but cry and whine to get to all of his title matches. He wants his moment and everything. He had it at WrestleMania this year. Seth did everything to build that title up, and then McIntyre won it, and then looked absolutely stupid getting cashed in on and breaking his elbow or shattering his elbow in the process. But I mean, they just it would be absolutely hilarious. And then just also full circle moment because he lost via interference from Solo whenever he faced Roman at Clash of the Castle. So it would be even more funny, and then it would also just put more heat on the Punk and McIntyre feud. And hopefully the moment that they would do that, he interferes, whatever, and McIntyre goes to is fuming, angry, goes to hit him back or whatever, and then he stops because he knows that Punk isn't clear, and you can play into that, like, okay, he knows that he can't do it, and because that would be a good way for him to show that pure, just the frustration in the way that he shows it. And then Punk grabs a mic and says, hit me, whatever, I'm clear, blah, blah, blah. Imagine the pop, imagine, the look in McIntyre's eyes and just the way they can play it off. And then, say that's how Clash closes out. And then, we get to Raw and Punk comes out on Raw and kicks it off. And then we immediately start the feud of Punk and McIntyre at SummerSlam in Cleveland. Hell, make that the main event.
Yeah, I was actually just thinking, Punk and McIntyre at SummerSlam would be one of the best matches they could have. And they've got months and months to build up the feud. CM Punk getting under McIntyre's skin, Punk versus McIntyre here, like that would be absolutely phenomenal, especially, seeing CM Punk back in a wrestling match other than the Royal Rumble would be awesome. I've got high hopes for him. I hope he does well. I hate to see him get injured right off the bat, but I mean, God, the things you could do with that feud is just endless. The promos they've already cut, even the one, my favorite one was when he was up in the suite and then McIntyre went up and he came down and, you got that 1,000-yard stare from McIntyre at Punk.
Yeah. Just fuming, you could see it. And then the throw in the autograph and hit Punk leaving the autograph for him up there. And then, Matt, and then, him, Pat, time it. I'm going to cook him quicker than his last title reign. I got 5 minutes and 48 seconds. Pat, time it. And that, just everything they've been doing. And then, within the, just, I'm very excited for that one. Definitely the best feud that they have going on right now on either brand.
Right. Definitely. It's there's only one other feud I would put close to that, and that's the one that's gonna be coming up with the bloodline. So Solo and Roman and all those guys. So yeah, it's gonna be good if they do it right.
Yes, definitely. They definitely have to do it right. Absolutely. It definitely do it right, and maybe don't have Punk. Hopefully, Punk is cleared soon. But you could have him wait until you could build it to where it's too close to put the match on Money in the Bank. So we definitely get it at SummerSlam, because I think the match at SummerSlam at the Brown Stadium will make it even better. Versus doing it Money in the Bank. But Damien is in here. He joined me on the other night on the Fever and Liberty stream, so appreciate you jumping in. Punk and McIntyre feud is way better than Punk and MJF and Kingston. The Punk and MJF one, I missed the majority of it. Obviously went back and watched it on YouTube and everything. I wasn't watching AEW at that time, so I can't compare it how it was live, but just seeing the replays and all the mind games that were thrown out, pictures given, and just the long-term storytelling of Punk and MJF, given that MJF was a fan of Punk, went to meet and greets, had a picture of him meeting Punk and everything like that, and then tying it with the greatest trick the devil ever pulled was making him not even exist or whatever, and just how MJF then used that to jump into the next atmosphere of what MJF is. I think McIntyre and Punk can get there. Definitely, they're on the way. But right now, even just watching replays of it, I still think the Punk and MJF feud was the best feud in AEW, and up there in all of wrestling. But thanks for joining us, Damien. We appreciate that. Make sure you subscribe my channels. I know you're probably already on the network, whatnot. Josh's channels are in the description. Go give him a follow and a sub on the Facebook and YouTube as well. And we appreciate you joining us.
Definitely. I haven't really watched AEW, few spots here and there, but so I missed that entire feud. I was really just getting back into and catching up with WWE because I had stopped watching it for quite a while because, man, those product was just not good.
I can remember a couple comments on some of my discussion posts saying, "Wow, you're really giving me the itch to get back into watching wrestling again." So
right.
I know I did the same for Carlos and maybe like 2 or 3 other classmates that were there, then they weren't there, and then randomly reappeared, and whatever else that went down. That's another rabbit hole we can get into discussing all the glory days of Full Sail. But yeah, I mean, AEW is a whole nother thing we could tackle as well. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Punk McIntyre, best thing that WWE has going on right now, no doubt about it, until obviously the return
of the final boss
of our tribal chief.
Is that it depends on which tribal chief we're talking about.
The rightful tribal chief. The rightful tribal chief.
I don't know. We'll see. Let me know when we get to that segment of the show.
Yeah. We can that'll be a fun way to wrap this one up. Sure. But Becky Lynch, free agent officially. Other contracts that are coming up. Ricochet, we talked about him being mixed in with the Cruiserweight division and getting his insides liquefied by Bron Breakker. So definitely would has leverage in what he could do once he's a free agent. Mixed in with Chad Gable, who has an Intercontinental title match this Saturday. You got to think if he were to win it, might be part of his negotiations in getting a new deal. And then also, this just broke earlier today before we started, but Tiffany Stratton has signed with Paradigm for representation in all areas. Get like movies, books, acting, anything else you could think of. She started on social media, has 551,000 followers on TikTok or Instagram, 257,000 on TikTok, and Paradigm is betting that her stock will only rise as wrestling is poised for greater exposure thanks to a $5 billion $10 deal with Netflix starting in January 2025. Paradigm hopes to model Stratton's career on the trajectories flown by Dwayne Johnson, John Cena, and Dave Bautista, all who originated from WWE and have become some of the most bankable names in Hollywood. This is from The Hollywood Reporter. What do you think about that? Only 25 years old, just getting onto the main roster and stepping into the spotlight and already being eyed by Hollywood.
Well, I mean, it's Hollywood, right? So there's a role. Time. Right. There's a role for everything and everyone, I mean, in Hollywood. And, it's not like Hollywood, is good on gorgeous blondes that can act, right? So
yeah, Sydney Sweeney. Shout out Sydney Sweeney. Shout out Liv Morgan.
Yeah. So, I mean, and you look at Tiffany Stratton, she's hot. She's on the rise in WWE. She's really made an impact as almost immediately after she came onto the main roster. So I think really the sky is the limit with her. I think she'll be a WWE Women's Champion here soon, probably in the next 6 months, or at least by the end of the year.
I would love that.
At the latest.
Win the Rumble. Tiffany Stratton for the Rumble.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be great. Absolutely. She's, as long as she keeps on this trajectory, and, a few people I've talked to, they don't like the, whole Clueless vibe, but I love the way that they're promoting her as a heel. It fits her personality. It fits just everything about her. And, she is very talented. I'm not surprised if Hollywood is coming to look for her already, especially with how big WWE has gotten in the last 2 to 3 years. So Hollywood loves pulling from the industry.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's going to be, when her contract is up with WWE, or it's time to renew, it's going to be interesting to see how much they're going to have to shell out. So as far as Becky Lynch goes, man, you talk about a workhorse, just, she's always there. She's always putting in the work. And if she takes a break or retires, it's well-deserved. I know they've got a kid. That is a very interesting comment right there.
Yeah, that one hurt. That one hurt.
Yeah.
That one hurt. I don't know about that one.
Yeah, that's a tough one there, Damien. I can tell you right now, I've liked her in all her matches. Especially, I think she held her own in the Elimination Chamber, which is saying something, considering she just come in maybe a month or two before that.
I mean, that was like, her first big. I mean, the Rumble was a big event for NXT call-ups, but to step into the Elimination Chamber and show out like she did, I mean, that, right away, I was on the Tiffy train. It's Tiffy time, and I rode the Tiffy train the whole way into on the Liv Morgan Revenge Tour, and I'm a Becky fan. Have been wearing a Becky shirt right now. Have been since I started watching. And yeah, like you said, if she retires, by all means, she can come back at any time. They can do the 4 horsewomen match and then officially retire. Charlotte can then be the one to induct her to the Hall of Fame. She can go be a mom, right off into the sunset. She has nothing left to prove besides winning Money in the Bank, but at this point, she doesn't really need it. So I mean, but if she's not done, which I don't think she is gonna get a bag thrown at her from either side. I know Earl, we were talking about this, or he was talking about this on one of his shows, one of his many shows that he does. Speaking of Earl, he's right there. What's going on, Earl? But yeah, I mean, she's gonna get a bag thrown at her either way. More than likely going to be Charlotte Flair money, if not more. Mercedes Moné money, if not more. And everything, every penny will be 1,000% well deserved. Was supposed to take time off after WrestleMania. Rhea got hurt. She came back, won the title, held it for a month and a half, put Liv over, and now she's riding off into the sunset for now.
Right.
And then we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I would love to have her back. It would be sad to see her go because I'm a huge Becky fan. But like you said, well deserved. She's got a family. I don't believe she's gonna go anywhere but WWE. Yeah. She's already said it. WWE's where she's retiring. You can see the loyalty with the company by, oh, hey, I know you're supposed to take some time off after WrestleMania, but Rhea's hurt, and we can't just give Liv the title because it'd be lazy writing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
can you come, do us a quick favor? Yeah, sure. It's like she never even left. Like it was just part of the program from the get-go. So
yeah, I think it was also a way for her to kind of like have redemption for the WrestleMania match, given that she had the the fever and she was battling strep throat during her match with Rhea, and still went out there and put on the match that she did. And then having the title and having the title with losing it to, or the NXT title, and then losing it, and then not knowing what we were doing with her, and then all of a sudden jumping into the title picture for against Rhea for Mania, and then boom, everything else that happened after that, and her interactions with Lyra Valkyria. That's why I think she's definitely not done. She's got to come back and take Lyra under her wing officially, and then they can, I guess they already had a match for the NXT title. But her on the main, both of them on the main roster, they could have, she could do side quests at this point. She could go and do, another tag title run with Lyra, and then, whatever, who knows when and where Charlotte Flair comes back in. You could have Becky and Lyra versus Charlotte and Tiffany. I mean, that would be pure cinema, as the kids say.
right.
Just a million different things that could happen. Just like all the other names that are nearing their deals ending. Natalya has a contract that's coming up or is up, and there hasn't been anything update wise on that. So it's going to be a very fun summer.
Right. And I mentioned it in the article I just wrote, but we've talked about it before. WWE has a lot of super over stars, and not enough gold to really go around, for all these stars that are just huge and would have great reigns as champions. And with all these contracts coming up, and nothing being sent out, no offers being sent out. You got Chad Gable, you got Ricochet. I mean, Natalya, I have a feeling there's going to be some cuts, and
I could see that.
It's because, you've got people that would be champions anywhere else. LA Knight, Jey Uso, all these people, like, you got to trim the fat, especially if when you're going into a Netflix deal in less than a year. You're going to need the best product you could possibly have.
6 months away now.
Yeah, it's not far away at all. And, I, like Triple H said, it's not that we released people, we just didn't renew them.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I would not be surprised if Natalya is a casualty of that, because she really hasn't been in any major storylines. She's kind of there, and I think, unfortunately, some talented stars may end up having to walk. We'll see, but they're going to cut down to the bare bones, nitty gritty, or they're going to have to pay a ton of money to keep some of these stars. So we'll see.
WWE women's division is going to suck if Becky and Natalya leaves, especially now that Rhea and Charlotte out. I mean, Charlotte is recovered and definitely can come back probably at any time. She just posted, she's doing a movie right now. She just posted an Instagram picture of her on set for a movie, so she's joining that train of wrestling talents being eyed by Hollywood and whatnot. And I mean, as she should, she obviously, she is another one that has nothing left to prove in in the wrestling industry. She would just be doing side quests at this point. Same with Natalia and Becky. Natalia has been doing stuff in NXT, helping the talent down there. So I could definitely see her, not getting a wrestler's contract, but
Right.
agreeing to step in as a coach down at the PC and staying involved with NXT, just working, independent contractor. She could
Yeah.
work as, just that, a freelancer or whatever, however she would want to do it. If she, has one more in her and still got some left in the tank, she could pull a Mark Henry and then disappear from WWE and show up in AEW. I mean, they're getting ready to start the Owen Hart Foundation tournament. So, that is about to kick off in AEW. So what better timing to close a chapter in WWE and then show up in AEW and do go down that road with a million different things could happen, but it's gonna, like I said, it's gonna be a fun summer.
Yeah,
I see
definitely.
Natalia staying with WWE only because she is mentoring these young and up and coming wrestlers. Yeah, exactly. Staying down there and being involved with NXT, I see that definitely, no doubt. But we will see in the upcoming weeks. Like Chad Gable contract expires on Friday. He has
Yeah.
a title match on Saturday, so that's going to be a lot of fun to see them see what they do with that. But
Right.
we are nearing the wrap up time. I think. Oh no, I thought it was later than what it is. We still got 20 minutes to NXT, so we can really dive into the return of uh of the greatest of all time. But first, we will. I looked it up, and there's nothing to preview for SmackDown, so I changed it to a SmackDown review of last Friday. And we had, like I said, I talked about the fake the Mark Henry fake retirement, whatnot, and then with AJ Styles. So I think we're going to get that rematch of AJ Styles and Cody Rhodes for the WWE title. Did you get a chance to watch SmackDown last week?
I did, and I'm gonna be honest, very lackluster. But really, since WrestleMania, eh, everything had been built up so much and
Yep.
so well and so
Yep.
in depth in the storylines that really, I think anything post like the first 4 months
Yep.
after WrestleMania just wouldn't seem the same. But on top of that, you've got everybody out. You got Rhea out. You got Charlotte out. You got Seth Rollins is out. Now Becky is out for a little while, possibly retired. But I mean, so we've got a lot of the big hitters and main stars out, which is great for the up and comers. At the same time, when you got a show full of mostly up and comers, it's hard to keep that level up that you had built up prior to WrestleMania. But we talked about SmackDown the other day, and it was there was 30 minutes left, and Bayley's match was happening. And we had at that point that was the third match of the entire show.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
And it's a 2-hour show. There's three matches, some promos, and then you had AJ Styles at the end with Cody Rhodes, which I think was great. I love the callback to Mark Henry's not retirement. But just seemed very, very lackluster. And I'm going to be honest, I'm ready to get some heavy hitters back and really be able to add that appeal and that excitement, like a Seth Rollins, hearing "Burn It Down" coming on in the middle of a promo when someone's talking. It's just, and don't get me wrong, I love Cody. He's great. I think he was the right choice to become champion. Manager.
Yeah.
I would love to see a manager with Cody. Let's add, you know, a little extra layer to Cody.
Yeah.
But
Arn Anderson left AEW.
yep,
There you go.
yep.
Also, it's funny when we got that comment about Roman desperately needing Roman back, and I acknowledged Roman Reigns, our view count jumped up to 4. And as soon as you said, I'm not kidding, as soon as you said I love Cody, but it dropped back down to 1. So I'm not reading between any lines or anything, but I'm just saying
Well,
the
and
numbers don't lie. The numbers
well,
don't lie.
and here's the thing too, though. Cody's he's doing well. Like I said, I think he was the perfect person to win the championship.
And
But
finish his story.
if you right,
The Cody
so,
Crybabies got what they wanted, and now they don't know what to do. Look, I mentioned the Cody Crybabies, and we jumped down to 0. So
well,
I mean, again, the numbers don't lie. But yeah, it just
I think it also goes back to the fact that we don't have a lot of the heavy hitters back either. Because he is a heavy hitter, and since WrestleMania, I think his biggest opponent was Logan Paul. Right.
but
And not
that
that
I
Logan
mean,
Paul
yeah,
is bad.
you can cut it, in a million different pieces and give excuses and why it feels the way that it feels. That Cody is just, he comes out, says the same exact thing, does the same exact stuff with every person he feuds with, finds a way to make it personal, shows that the way he can make things personal and really dive into the emotion and cutting a promo being great, whatever. And that, people were like, why are we doing champion versus champion? And then it's like, who else is he going to face? You got people, everyone else in the roster is competing in King of the Ring. You got
Right.
the King of the Ring finals on King and Queen of the Ring, the pay-per-view. He's not going to go and face someone that loses in King of the Ring. That doesn't make any sense. The
Right.
logical only other person he would face is Logan Paul. Make it a mega match. The big fight feel, the champion versus champion. Definitely the right call. It just it was too quick. It was too quick of a here's what we're doing. There wasn't really a build for it.
Right. I mean, and everyone's out, man. CM Punk's out, Seth is out. I would love to see now Seth come after his title. But he's out. The roster's just, it's different. I don't know how else to say it, but it's different right now.
I agree.
So it's not so much that Cody can't cut a good promo or can't be an exciting champion, or it doesn't have exciting matches. It's just they're either building up younger talent, or the other ones that are on that level just aren't there. They're out, they're hurt, they're taking time off. Filming. Roman is wrapping up filming on a movie, so
Yeah.
it's and then they also built up the bloodline, the whole Solo Suits, Tama Tonga Loa.
Yeah.
Has been an absolute, of course, they got Paul Heyman, and pretty much anything Paul Heyman is in now is gold.
Which,
he can sell.
Do they really have Paul Heyman? I mean, they're over here putting the ones up on this side. Paul Heyman's putting the one up on this side. I think we know where the wise man loyalties lie.
Right.
It goes back to the same thing whenever Roman left the last time. Paul Heyman was stressed out more than anyone has ever been before, and that was he was dealing with Jimmy and Jay. Now he's dealing with unhinged Tama Tonga, the gremlin growling, don't feed him after midnight psychopath, Toaloa, and then Solo. And the crowd's chanting, fourth or fifth time the crowd has been chanting, we want Roman. And Paul Heyman, no, believe me, nobody wants Roman Reigns back more than I do. and
Right.
as he should. I mean, Roman is like the examples that I just gave. The numbers don't lie. SmackDown hasn't felt like a big deal since Roman was last on it. That's just how it is. Their Solo is in the spotlight, which I've said that before too. When Roman does leave, Solo can jump into the spotlight and take off. He absolutely has. He's brought along now Tama Tonga, Loa, and eventually Jacob Fatu or Zilla, or whatever, whoever else. They could also, one of those two could return with Roman, and the reuniting of the Usos for the new babyface bloodline, which the OG bloodline coming back as a babyface, I think will be absolutely perfection in every sense of the word. And I think that can go into why there's rumors being thrown around that Roman could be returning sooner than we think, and returning at Money in the Bank in July. Say he returns and helps Jay win Money in the Bank as a way to say, Jay, I'm sorry, whatever. And that's how they end up reuniting. But also, you can have Jay in Money in the Bank. You could have Solo or Tama Tonga, one of those guys, be in Money in the Bank on the SmackDown side, and then that's how you reignite the Bloodline feud. Then obviously, if Roman returns, Roman returns, they zoom in right to Solo. We're going to do Solo and Roman at SummerSlam, which would
Right.
be perfect. Also, that leaves the door open for Cody and The Rock, which a lot of people were thinking before The Rock left. That was the direction they were going. And then you could from there, you could do a million different things. At SummerSlam, Solo versus Roman, you have a debut of Jacob Fatu or Zilla or whatever, and have it, even teams. Jimmy Uso comes back, and then boom, you got Bloodline Civil War 2.0 at War Games in November. And then just continue going from there with Roman Reigns back as a babyface.
So I kind of want to roll it back a little bit. You're talking about Jey Uso and Roman coming out at Money in the Bank and helping Jey Uso win. I would hate that. And let me tell you why. Okay. So how long has it been that Jey Uso's been out of the bloodline? It's been a while, right? And they put him on Raw. They put him in singles action. They've been giving him title shot after title shot after title shot. He's been wanting to prove that he can do this on his own, correct? So
that's true.
Bring
That's
Roman
true.
in to help him win Money in the Bank.
Maybe not help him, but if Solo, or if say Tama Tonga's in Money in the Bank, and then Solo steps up and starts beating up on Jay or whatever, or distracting Jay, Roman comes back and then takes Solo out of the equation, and then opens the door, and then Jay goes in and wins. Obviously, it's still going to be a big pop and everything like that. So assisting Jay as a sense of I'm sorry, Jay. He could even do the manipulation that he does so well of, I always wanted this for you. I knew you could get to this point, blah, blah, blah. But I think definitely they're going to have him come back as a babyface, and it's going to be perfect.
Absolutely. Yeah. He's definitely gonna. I've heard that all over the place. And him and Paul Heyman are gonna come back as a face. Sorry, not as a heel, as a face. I could also see it Money in the Bank if something happens. Cody Rhodes come out and take out Solo, or because they have that connection.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
Until we eat again, right? From a few months ago, right after WrestleMania, that would be perfect. I think there's probably a better way for that to work out with Roman, because I really don't want to see Jay get dragged back into the bloodline. He's talented enough. He's over enough, more than enough over with the fans. Keep him in singles. Keep him on the trajectory you got him in. Money in the Bank. That way you have a year just like you did with Damian Priest. And when the time is right, and he gets a title. I think that's the best way to do it, to not nullify all the work that you've done since he got out of the bloodline and went to Monday Night Raw. And there's plenty of people that hate Solo. You could really do just about anybody on the roster to, stop Solo.
Assist Jay.
You could do a Randy Orton. You could do a KO coming out and stopping Solo. So
that would be cool to have a SmackDown guy do it, because then if the SmackDown guy does it, you can, if they wouldn't, obviously if Jay would then win Money in the Bank, he could then go to both shows, I'm assuming, because he can, cash in at any time. So then you could restart the feud of Solo and Jay, but then also the SmackDown guy that interferes, it goes along with that guy can invite Jay to SmackDown if he wins Money in the Bank, and then that's the door, and they can follow suit with the draft and the brand split and keeping guys on the right brand. And then also, Kevin Owens or Randy Orton, whoever was part of the Cody Vengers helps Jay, you then can have them continue feuding with the bloodline, even though it has been repetitive, and like KO coming out again and stepping to Paul Heyman again, stepping to Solo again. It's getting kind of old, and I seeing it too much. Although Solo and KO 1-on-1, Solo and Randy Orton 1-on-1, you can go down those paths and whatnot and everything like that. But it'll be fun to see how it happens. But Damien, I've had this comment up for a while. The Uncle Howdy QR codes have been going on both shows. So talking about the brand split and whatnot. The code last night from Hershey on Raw ended up with a picture of what I think, and other people think is Alexa Bliss, but it also said "See you tonight," which we didn't end up getting anything. So it's nothing right now besides just the next Veer, and he might be coming to Raw, he might be coming to SmackDown. We don't know until we actually get it. So there's another comment, but I'm not gonna say his name, and he appears believe in Joe Biden. I believe, we don't do that here. Caitlyn crybabies equal Cody cry. Yeah, we don't. No Caitlyn Clark hate here either. Damien, you should know that from the watch along the other night for the WNBA. Big Caitlyn Clark fan.
Yeah, no hate on Caitlyn for me either. She's she's done a lot already for the WNBA. Same with her and Angel Reese, with just getting the league out there, the visibility.
Yeah, bringing eyes to it, putting butts in seats, the whole ordeal.
Right.
And I'm gonna get into that, Damien, on Thursday with the debut episode of the Full Court Press podcast. Coach Ed, myself, and Randy will be diving into that world on Thursday. No Caitlyn Clark hate here, but definitely Paul Heyman is definitely getting some hate in the sense of the glaring and the stares from the gremlin of the bloodline, along with Solo, and Heyman's stress right now, just like Otis, except he's not getting belted or anything.
Right.
WWE needs to push the button on Jacob Fatu at Clash at the Castle or Money in the Bank. I think it's time. I think everyone was expecting Jacob at Backlash, and we ended up getting Tama Tonga, and then all of a sudden, we got Tonga's brother. They could go Jacob Fatu now at either one, Clash or Money in the Bank. So definitely the iconic. He comes out with a black hoodie zipper like Solo did, and then go from there.
I think really it's wide open with they're not painted so much into a corner like they are with the World Heavyweight Championship. But, as far as that's concerned, I think they've been painted into that situation for a while now by waiting so long for Damian Priest to cash in. And it had to come at some point soon. But as far as the bloodline goes, I mean, really the sky's the limit. They could go anywhere and everywhere with this feud, and with the possibilities with Roman, with The Rock. Who is Solo really talking about? The tribal chief? Is he talking about the final boss, Dwayne, or is he talking about Roman Reigns? So the options are wide open. The only thing I care about: do not suck Jay back into this. Let him succeed on his own. The guy is so talented and so over. Leave him alone. Have them make amends. Cool, got it. Do not suck him back into the Civil War. So,
not yet. Because I think him winning Money in the Bank, he can hold it for a whole year. The Bloodline Civil War we can build. They can use that in the build of, if Solo gets pulled into the, going against Cody, they can have Jay tease, helping Cody in the sense that he still has Money in the Bank, but he's going to help Cody, fend off Solo. But then it turns around, and then within a year, then you can do another heel turn of Roman was playing it the whole time and instantly flips a switch. It turns out he was manipulating Jay to befriend Cody with Money in the Bank, and then you can do a million different things with that from there. But yeah, Jay hit or miss in bringing him back into, Bloodline Civil War. Before, definitely, pump the brakes on before Money in the Bank, but say he wins it, I see no issue with starting it again then, because you could, it opens the door to do it if he wins Money in the Bank.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Intrusive thought just came in. What if Jey Uso wins Money in the Bank, right? And let's say Cody's still champion at WrestleMania next year, and someone cashes in on Cody next year at WrestleMania and does a heel turn.
Oh man.
Would that not?
Oh man. Make it even better. Make it even better. You do a triple threat. You do the triple threat there, Cody, Roman, and The Rock, and then you have Jay cash in on all three of them.
That would be great. I would love to see a Jay heel turn at WrestleMania next year.
And then it can turn Roman up to an 11 with his return and his babyface run. And then you could boom, right there, you could do it. The Rock was actually in on it with Jay, with Solo, with everyone, and the only one that kept Roman's back, was the wise man, Paul Heyman.
Yeah, you could. We could do. I mean, there's so much you could do.
Yeah,
bring Roman back as a face.
This rabbit hole for.
Yeah, no, for sure. We can go forever, but you could also bring him back as a face all the way up until WrestleMania. Have a Jay cash in on Cody, or one of those big championship matches. Have him turn heel, and then you could have Roman be like, "Oh, hey, let's make amends now. You have the championship." And then you've got classic heel Roman. You've got heel Jay. I mean, so much you could do with this storyline.
Yeah.
It's insane. But we also got to remember, I'm 99.99% sure they want to Rock versus Roman at WrestleMania as well.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that is figure that
in.
100% on that one. There's so many different ways that it could go, and it's going to be a fun summer. It's going to lead into a fun fall, and then a fun Survivor Series season and War Games, and then of course back on the road to WrestleMania with the Rumble. Also
Right.
being on Netflix, you got to think we're definitely going to have Roman back. Probably going to have him come back to Raw, since I would assume if Cody stays on SmackDown, he would then go back to USA in January, or actually in October. He's going to come back to USA Network, so that can keep them happy in the fact that the deal that they gave WWE to stay on USA up until the Netflix deal starts, to have both brands on the USA Network. But then when Netflix starts, they're definitely going to want Roman Reigns being front and center, Netflix every single week, him returning as a babyface. He'll finally actually show up,
Right.
like the Cody crybabies always complain about. Um, and then it's going to be so much fun
Yeah.
seeing everything unfold. Look, and we can look back at this episode and be like, oh, we called that. Oh, they went
Right.
completely different than what we said, but it worked
Speaking
out, or it didn't work out.
Speaking of which, did we ever figure out how we did as far as WrestleMania, as far as our picks?
Yeah,
I
I
remember
wrote them
bringing up.
down. I think I got you by like 3 matches.
I think so. The big one I remember was watch what happens with the tag title matches.
Right.
And that
right.
will determine what Judgment Day does.
Yeah.
And it was
1000%. Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I knew it. So
yeah.
I'm glad about that
1000%.
So, but cool. Sweet.
Lady Sky, what's going on? I believe that is either from your Facebook or maybe the network's Facebook. How's it going? Subscribe to all the other channels. Damien's got some more. Can't wait for Zilla to join WWE. Zilla for definitely, no doubt about it. Can't wait for CM Punk to be clear and come back. Absolutely. Him and McIntyre are cooking now with him on the shelf. So half on the shelf, half off. But it's going to be a lot of fun whenever he is cleared to get back. And then Damien again, J idea would be interesting. Only thing about that, it would kill the brand split. Well, that's what I'm saying. If he wins Money in the Bank, he holds a contract to essentially cash in on the SmackDown title, the WWE title on SmackDown, or cash in on the World Heavyweight title on Raw. So it doesn't kill the brand split. He can, holding Money in the Bank, he can go from show to show. As we saw Priest do a billion times, along with him holding the tag titles when they were unified. Those are small keys to be able to go from show to show. Right. Question with WWE and TNA now working together. Do y'all think TNA they could get TNA on Netflix? Is TNA on regular cable, or do they have their own thing like ROH does? I don't know. I don't watch TNA, so
I want to say TNA is on cable. I don't watch it, but I believe it is on cable. I think if they don't have something now, they could have something later on, depending on how things go with Netflix, right, as far as viewership and all that good stuff goes, and the money they bring in. But you never say never, right?
Yeah. So TNA, it looks like they are on Access TV Thursdays at 8 or 8:30 on YouTube for insiders. So I don't know what that means. Their partnership, I don't know if it's going to go along with. Although I think I did see something about that is Access TV is owned by Endeavor, which parent company of TKO. So maybe that could be where the partnership stems from. But I don't think they're going to follow TNA going to Netflix or be part of, WWE's media deals going forward. I think it's just a partnership of the Forbidden Door being open. Jordan Grace, we're getting her on NXT tonight, which we do got to wrap up so I can jump
Right.
over to that and do NXT tonight. So yeah, I mean yeah, the TNA thing though is very, very cool. Drew McIntyre teased that the doors open both ways, with a picture of him in the TNA championship. So maybe if he doesn't get his moment in front of his home fans again, he can just go over to TNA and get paid WWE money to go to TNA. I would be fine with that.
Well, they gotta make some cuts somewhere because they got too many people and not enough gold to go around.
Lady Sky, we appreciate that. Please jump over to Josh's channels and subscribe and follow on there.
Definitely.
Wow. Speak of the devil of Full Sail
Well.
classmates. Carlos, how's it going, man? We haven't I literally haven't we didn't even see you at graduation, but I probably haven't talked to you since around that time.
Yeah.
Pretty cool of you to jump in and whatnot. Definitely have to reach out to you on Facebook after I'm done with my next stream. So thank you for tuning in, catching the end, or however long you were in here before you threw the comment up there. But yeah, thank you. TNA is a regular on cable access TV. Yeah, yep. Thank you guys. I didn't know that because I don't watch TNA, but I mean obviously Jordan Grace has been in the Rumble, and then her at NXT last week was a lot of fun to see, and she'll be facing Roxanne Perez at Battleground this Sunday, which Hunter and I will be doing a watch along for. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, Josh, if you want to plug your new channels and brand and Facebook, or just I guess rebrand, we can give you that time and then wrap this one up. And I gotta jump over to the black and gold brand.
Yeah, you can find me Lace'em Up Sports Media on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube. It's pretty much the same all the way around. Lace'em Up Sports Media. Type that in. You can find it pretty much anywhere. I just revamped it and started my business page on Facebook. So look for the logo behind me and the name. You'll find it. We're getting there.
Yep. But yeah, that'll do it for episode 65 of the Sleeper Sports Media Podcast. Thanks to everyone who joined for 20 seconds, 30 seconds, for a minute, for however long, and whoever is going to watch and catch the replay. I will see you on NXT, and also tomorrow for Dynamite, also Thursday for the Old Lady Sky. All of our links are in the description. Thank you for the follows and subscribes. We appreciate and all the support. And I will be going live again for NXT, so feel free to jump into there. But again, guys, thank you. We appreciate it, and we will see you next time.